Back and a small swing through. And this is gonna be our goal right here. My weight's on my front foot. And as I rotate back towards the camera, notice my wrist didn't change. Those look a little too familiar. If you struggle to break 90, there's a good chance that your iron play is what's holding you back. One of the biggest issues I see with golfers that struggle with iron play is chunking the golf ball or hitting the ground before the golf ball. Hi, my name is Darren Falk, and I'm here with a brand new YouTube channel helping you to break 90. So today, we're going to talk about improving your iron play, and in particular, talking about the chunk shots, hitting the ground before the golf ball. We're going to talk about what causes it, how to fix it, and how to get you to hit more greens. So stick around and let's have some fun. So what is a chunk? Essentially, a chunk is going to be when the golf club gets to the ground before the golf ball. We take a big divot, the ball just dribbles out in front of us. What we need to be doing in order to hit solid iron shots is catching the golf ball while it's still working down towards the ground. So we need to be hitting golf ball first with the divot coming after the golf ball. If you watch any golf on TV, you'll see that every time with the pros, even if they do take big divots, those divots are always occurring after the golf ball. So what causes that? There's a couple things. One is this misconception of golfers feeling like they need to try and lift the golf ball up in the air. And that's not how we get the ball to go up in the air. Okay? So the number one fundamental of golf is being able to control where this club hits the ground. The golfer that's able to control it the best is going to be the best golfer. Where that club hits the ground is very important, and that spot is going to be somewhere 2 to 3 inches or so in front of this golf ball. Right? So what that looks like as I come into the ball is my club is coming down when it hits the ball, continues to go down after the ball, and then we'll start to come back around. Okay. So first is understanding that concept, what we need to do. Next, we're going to talk about what are the two pieces that control where this club hits the ground. Okay, so the first piece that's going to control where this club hits the ground is going to be where my weight is. So if we put a circle here around my belt buckle, the center of my hips, and we put another one up here by my sternum, the center of my shoulders, these will create my two centers of my body. For the golfers that chunk the golf ball, what I typically will see is that either one or both of these centers will be behind the golf ball at impact. And simply put, we can see my weight is where? On my back foot or my right foot for the righty golfer. When we look at the pros, when they're hitting the golf ball, you will see both of their centers moving in front of the golf ball. So both the center of my shoulders and the center of my hips are going to be occurring somewhere on this side of that golf ball. The second thing that's going to determine where my club hits the ground is the angle or the lean of the golf club. So I could have my weight moving correctly towards the target and moving towards the left, but I could still have an issue of hitting the ground back behind the golf ball. And what's causing that is my wrist and or my trail arm to throw this golf club. My golf club is getting too long too soon. That's going to cause me to hit the ground back behind the golf ball. Instead, when we look at the pros, what we see with them is not only is their weight moving more forward, but their wrist angles are maintaining. So it's a good checkpoint when the club would be about parallel to the ground. You can see my hands would be kind of relatively over the golf ball or about over my right foot, my right thigh. What we see with players that chunk the golf ball is that when the club's parallel to the ground, the hands are well back behind the right leg. So now we've established what these two main pieces are in our golf swing to help us hit more solid irons and move the bottom of my swing after the golf ball. And an easy drill that we can do involves simply just a towel and a golf club. So I'm going to simply just lay my towel down behind the golf ball. And to start with, I'm going to put it about a little bit more than half of a grip behind the golf ball. So maybe 5 or 6 inches or so right behind the golf ball. Right? And why I love this is it's great feedback because it'll tell us right away whether we did it okay or not. We don't need a camera necessarily. We don't necessarily always want to trust what the golf ball did, especially if we're hitting off the mats here. So if the bottom of my swing occurs behind the golf ball, what's going to happen is I'm going to hit this towel. Okay, so for the drill here, we're going to set this towel up again, maybe about a little bit more than half a grip length behind it. And now, with the 2 pieces we already talked about, with the drill that we're going to do here is we're going to really exaggerate these 2 pieces. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm set up to the golf ball and I'm going to slide or shift my weight more forward towards the target. So I'm going to set up with what feels to me like my belt buckle, center of my hips over my left heel. Very important when I do this, notice my upper body doesn't move really far forward. It's going to pretty much stay in place. So my hips are forward. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set the club behind the ball and I'm going to push my hands and the handle of this golf club forward. So as I look down here, this golf club is sort of covering the toes of my left foot. So I can't see my toes from this setup position. And essentially we're setting up to where we want to be at impact. And as I do this here, notice there's barely any weight at all here on my right foot. Okay? So now I've got the feedback from the towel, I've got the correct setup, and now with this drill, all I'm going to do is make a very small swing. Simply going to take it about parallel to the ground in the backswing and parallel to the ground on the follow through. And my 2 key points are keeping my weight moving towards the target, never falling back. And the second thing I'm going to focus on is keeping my hands or the grip end of this club ahead of the club head for as long as I possibly can. And if I do that correctly, you'll notice the wrist has still got some bend to it. There's an angle here from my elbow to the golf club, a little bit at sort of a triangle shape. And that would be a good sign that my hands have stayed ahead of this golf club. So again, simple drill, towel behind the golf ball. You can start with a grip length behind it if you want to, and then slowly move it as close as you can. You're going to set up with the hips forward, handle forward, and from there, just going to make a small swing back and a small swing through, and this is going to be our goal right here. My weight's on my front foot, and as I rotate back towards the camera, notice my wrist didn't change at all. There's no bending of my arms and any flicking of the wrist. So my is forward and my hands are forward. Those 2 pieces are going to help me to, 1, hit the ground, but 2, make sure I'm hitting the ground after the golf ball, not back here before it. Okay. So do that again, hips forward, hands forward, just a small swing back and a small swing through, and there's ball first, ground second contact. And then from there, I would simply just take the towel away. And when I do my actual swing, it's up to you. I have some golfers that I am having them setting up what feels like probably 80-20, 80% of their weight on their left foot in the setup. Other golfers don't like to start with that much. I don't really care too much. The only thing I care about is that by the time you hit this golf ball, you need to have probably 80-90% of your weight on this front foot. And the second piece is going to be as I'm moving my weight more forward, then I'm maintaining my wrist angles. I'm not trying to throw the club at the golf ball. I'm making sure that I keep my weight forward, keep my hands forward, and I'm thinking in terms of trying to hit the ground somewhere over here after this golf ball. So from there, I'll go ahead and just graduate to a little bit bigger swing, but still with those same 2 principles, so same 2 thoughts, keeping the weight forward and keeping my hands ahead of this club head for as long as I can on the follow through. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in. Hope you found this helpful. Please let me know in the comments below any questions you have, any drills that you want to see. If you would please, if you like this channel, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thanks so much.